Good morning, everybody. We have a mostly lower trade in the grain markets here early on Thursday morning. It is 6:30 a.m. Central Time. July corn futures down 5 cents at 6.59 and a quarter. December corn is down 8 cents at 5.27 and three quarters. July soybeans down 9 and a quarter at 13.75 and three quarters. November soybeans down 9.5 cents at 12.90 and three quarters. July Chicago wheat down 7 at 6.54 and a quarter. July Kansas City wheat down 3 and a quarter at 6.08 and three quarters. July spring wheat is up 4 and three quarters at 8.09 and a half. Everybody on the podcast, really appreciate you guys listening and tuning in. The amount of downloads and people listening to this thing continues to improve. So thank you. Leave me a review or a rating if you have not already. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like the channel. Make sure you subscribe. If you need some additional assistance from me, go to my website. It is www.standardgrain.com. Go to that website, click on Grain Marketing Plan here in the upper right-hand corner. For $49 a month, I offer a subscription service. It includes my morning email, which goes out every business day at 6:30 a.m. Central Time. That includes every overnight headline you need to be aware of, all sorts of interesting charts and graphics, all my grain marketing recommendations, everything from cash sales to options to capture and carry. There's a text message service here. There are subscriber-only videos that go out every single business day, any sort of consulting that you might need. This is a monthly subscription that can be canceled at any time. It's a standalone product, guys. No other fee, no other obligation, nothing like that. Weather is in the news again here this morning, and we had some rain overnight, and we continue to have some rain on the radar here this morning. There's a system sitting across parts of, say, eastern Nebraska, parts of Kansas, and a whole bunch of Iowa, also northern Missouri. So again, more rain on the radar is generally bearish this time of year when you wake up and you see this sort of thing on the radar. Overnight totals, looks like some places in east to northeast Nebraska did pretty good. Down toward Lincoln, they caught some rain. Further east into western Iowa, they caught some rain. Again, I'm not too sure of the totals here. Now, the forecasts, I would probably argue, are still generally bearish, although there are problems here. This is not a perfect year by any means. So you've got a lot of rain in the forecast for the Central Corn Belt. Iowa, Illinois, northern Missouri, Indiana, Ohio. Those are areas that are going to be wet here over the next 7 days. As a matter of fact, there are some weather forecasters who are concerned that these very heavy rains in the forecast for parts of, say, eastern Iowa and western Illinois may actually result in flooding. So we're to the point now where, we had been dry, we've been looking for rain, and now there's a chance that there may be so much rain that you'll see flooding locally in some of these areas. Notably, dry areas continue to include the eastern part of North Dakota, really the whole state of North Dakota, eastern part of South Dakota. The map this morning suggests that maybe the southern half to southern third of South Dakota catches some rain. Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma may catch a little bit of rain here over the next 7 days, so maybe a little bit better looking. So, not a perfect year by any means. Some of those rains in Iowa 2 nights ago had some hail that accompanied them. We've still got some dry areas. We could have some areas that are too wet. So certainly not a perfect year, but I think that the market is looking at the rainfall and saying, this is probably a bearish deal here this time of year. U.S. exporters sold more new crop soybeans to China. USDA reported another flash sale yesterday, 330,000 metric tons this time around. That's about 12 million bushels. This is in addition to the 336,000 metric ton sale that USDA reported on Tuesday. Total Chinese purchases of new crop beans this year are pretty close to where they were last year. And I would probably describe what's going on right now in terms of new crop export sales to China. I would probably describe this as routine business. You see this sort of stuff reported and it looks really bullish, right? Like everybody reports, they'd be sold 300,000 metric tons of beans to China. Keep in mind, guys, exports represent essentially half of the demand for U.S. soybeans just about every single year, and China is our biggest customer. Therefore, we need to see this sort of business to support the demand base. And if you look at where we're at this year in regard to new crop soybean sales to China. It's really not that great. It's pretty close to where it was last year, but not like anything fantastic historically. It's actually probably toward the lower end of what we've seen historically for this time of year. Now, it was around this time of year last year that Chinese purchases of new crop U.S. soybeans really began to accelerate. It was July and August last year. So if you're going to see this massive export program for the 21-22 marketing year from China again this year, it's probably going to start in July and August. It'll probably start to get really aggressive during that time frame. Now, keep in mind, of course, that Brazil just harvested a record crop. China can buy beans from Brazil at a much lower price right now. There's also the potential, of course, for another monster Brazilian crop. They're going to start planting early soybeans in September, typically. That is weather dependent, but acreage will be up, I think, without a doubt. So just a couple of notes there. But, you know, the sales to China are good, but I don't know that it's anything out of the ordinary at this point. I'd like to see what happens in July and August, see if we see something similar to the big purchases that we saw last year. U.S. ethanol production improved last week, 1.048 million barrels per day. That was up a little bit more than 2% on the week, still down about 2% versus the same week in 2019. But I'd probably make the argument that both ethanol production and gasoline demand are close enough to normal. I mean, you can call them pretty normal. This was the second best weekly print of ethanol production in the post-COVID era, sixth consecutive week above 1 million barrels per day. So ethanol looks a little bit better, although ethanol stocks have risen now for, I believe, 4 consecutive weeks. So we're not using ethanol at the pace that we're producing it at this point. Additional acreage estimates are emerging ahead of next week's USDA report. So that big report is out on Wednesday next week. Farmers Business Network did a survey of 2,000 customers. They've got corn acreage at 92.9, which is one of the lower estimates that I've seen. They've got soybean acreage at 86.5, which would be below March intentions. That would be a friendly surprise if realized. Pro Farmer pegged corn acreage at 93.6. Which is a little bit closer to some of the other stuff I've seen recently. Soybeans at 88.7 from Pro Farmer. Export sales out this morning at 7:30 a.m. Central Time. Old crop corn sales expected 0 to 400. New crop 200 to 500. Old crop soybeans, maybe some cancellations, maybe up to 175. New crop 200 to 800 expected. Wheat sales should be 200 to 525. Remember, July grain options expire on Friday. Make sure to take a look at any remaining open positions that you have there. Cattle market finished marginally lower in the fat cattle, sharply lower in some of the feeder cattle contracts yesterday. The hog market was sharply lower. Cash trade in cattle has yet to really establish. There's been a little bit scattered around. Boxed beef was lower yesterday. In the outside markets, the S&P's up 20 points. The Dow is up 176. Precious metals are mixed. The U.S. dollar is about flat. Crude oil is down 8 cents in the August WTI at 73 bucks even. Bonds are about flat. Everybody have a wonderful day today. I will talk to you same time tomorrow.